9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to another edition of WWT Live as part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. They call me the professor around these parts. You can call me Gerard, GB. Any of those names work. Simple guy who's looking forward to having a great conversation about pro wrestling. And a lot has happened in the last 48 hours. I think you're probably used to us saying that, but it really has. And as this day has progressed, there have been more news items and all of the things. So we're going to get into all of that. Go ahead, invite a few friends in all of the places where you have influence and bring them onto the party, because we're going to have some fun discussions today as we're just a few days away from the Royal Rumble. We've got information coming out of Raw, coming out of NXT, and we're getting ready for Dynamite. But before I do that, I've got the sweet.
It's the Queen Bee of WWT, Wrestling with Honey with
Honey Pop Predictions.
Buzz, what's happening, beautiful people?
Hey, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Professor. I'm doing well. It's another day, another dollar, a beautiful day above ground. Happy to be here. Can't wait.
Listen, always happy when we're above ground, because it could always be worse. So definitely excited about that. Shout out to the people who are already joining us. Eric, good to see you. Pachu, always a pleasure. Lewis, good to see you. Hey, Eris, good to see you. Welcome back. Dylan in the place to be. Special Little Nobodies is here. JD is in the building. Good to see you. And of course, we'll have more joining. You know, we like to try to start as close to on time as we possibly can. And because there's so much to talk about, it's definitely worth doing that. Yes. Thank you, Special Little Nobodies. He said, wrapping up my work day, had to tap into my favorite podcast and show, and we appreciate that. Boza, good to see you as well. Just enjoying another day with my favorite news show in wrestling. We appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words and your continued support for what we're doing here at WWT Live. We do not take it for granted. There are plenty of outlets that you could be tuned into for a variety of reasons. So thank you for spending some time with us today. We'll do our best to make sure that it's worth your while. So let's start with breaking news. That's a great way to start things. Triple H is in the news, as the news has broken that indeed Triple H is going to be leading the Hall of Fame class of 2025, the WWE Hall of Fame. Congratulations are in order. Now, I wish there was video of this floating around, because the word on the street is the way this was announced was during a town hall today for company employees, where he was surprised by, of all people, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, and a rare appearance from Stephanie McMahon. They informed him that he would be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now, of course, he had been previously inducted into the Hall of Fame as part of DX a few years ago, but now Triple H is getting his own individual induction into the Hall of Fame. Honey, talk a bit about the career of Triple H and why you feel like he deserves this induction.
I think in a lot of ways, even when Triple H was in his prime, we knew this day was going to come. Like, no matter what. One of the greatest in-ring workers, one of the greatest heels in history. I just can't. I was just so happy personally as an Attitude Era kid, you know, to see him on the face of that Hall of Fame cover, and I'm just like, yes, we're here. You know what I mean? Like, it's so well deserved. I mean, going from Hunter Hearst Helmsley and the bow and the French accent and being that aristocrat, he was still always such a hard hitter and a tough guy, and transitioning and once he got with Shawn and DX, the rest is history from there. It only makes sense that you do call him the Game. He is that damn good. And he also is the COO of the WWE. And considering how he ran this whole year and was able to put on one of the biggest WrestleManias under his era, under his umbrella, congratulations, and so well deserved. I just think this is awesome. And I really do hope footage of that comes out, because I think I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
I definitely think, at least hope somebody recorded it, because it's certainly a big deal. Jasmine is back. Welcome, Jasmine. I think you are officially part of our crew. So it's great to have you with us. We're taking her in. She's ours. Let's see. JD, is Honey wearing Jake Hager's hat? That's hilarious. Holy cow, that's hilarious.
No. Not Jake Hager, but I am. No. It belongs to Rihanna.
It's Rihanna's hat. Even better. Even better. Triple H, I think, when we were having the discussion about the Shield, and one of the questions that I think it was the mayor who asked, like, would you be able to tell the story of pro wrestling without him? If we ask that question of Triple H, the answer is no. You cannot tell the story.
Absolutely not.
Without Triple H. You think about all that Triple H has been a part of, from coming in to the WWE as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, even from his time in WCW as Terra Rising, being trained by some of the all-time greats and being a real student of the business.
Yes.
Think about what he went through and how his career could have been derailed in 96, with the whole curtain call situation in Madison Square Garden, where he was slated to win King of the Ring that year. But because of that, he was out and was literally buried for a year, but found a way to come back and rebound from that, becoming WWE champion. But even think about how we don't have the Monday Night Wars without DX and the NWO. Literally the Clique ran wrestling in the 90s, and where we are now, the Clique is running wrestling again.
Literally.
And so, you think about this man's career, his in-ring career as a 14-time world champion is enough to induct him into the Hall of Fame. But then if you take all of that away, and you talk about what he's done for NXT, and you talk about how he has revolutionized WWE, and we never ever thought that we would eventually have a WWE without Vince McMahon. But then we always thought if it wasn't Vince, it'd probably be Stephanie or Shane. The idea that we are living in a WWE without a McMahon in charge, and it's better than it's ever been, it's making more money than it's ever made, it says a lot about Triple H. To be able to navigate what the locker room has looked like, and to create a space where people are happy to come to work, where people are excited, and all of these types of things. It's literally, it's like he's had 3 or 4 careers in one.
He really has. So many different eras of Triple H. And you want to talk about a character evolution. If you look at the picture of Terra Rising and a picture of him right here, night and day.
Totally.
And then that's not even and we didn't even mention the evolution era, where he was able to lift up Ric Flair back into being Ric Flair again.
Yeah.
And being able to mold 2 other students of the game in Batista and Randy Orton, and look at where they all are now.
Yeah.
And they're all, like, Triple H is a part of that constant. I can never tell the story of pro wrestling without Triple H ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's a beautiful thing to see, and so we love to see it. Congratulations to Triple H, who will be headlining the class of 2025 for the WWE Hall of Fame. Of course, that's going to go down WrestleMania weekend. It's the weekend of April the 19th and the 20th in Las Vegas. We'll obviously be getting more details on that as time progresses. But speaking of Las Vegas, I think it's absolutely hilarious that he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame in Las Vegas, considering that it was in Las Vegas where he had his shotgun wedding with Stephanie McMahon. So it's amazing how it all comes full circle for Triple H. I
Oh
love
my
that.
God, that's
So
great. And
there
you
are
know what?
questions.
That speech is gonna be good.
Well, so speaking of the speech, there are questions that have been floating around in the chat from a few people. Jeffrey's one of them. I thought I saw JD ask a similar question. And the question is, who do you think inducts Triple H into the Hall of Fame?
There's a number of people it could be, but I feel like there's only one rightful person. And
Okay.
he inducted this person when they got entered into the Hall of Fame, and that's Shawn Michaels. I feel like it's only right. If you want to bring in, Kevin Nash and Pac and the crew afterwards, something very special. I mean, it would be a surprise if it's even Stephanie. I think that would be amazing. There's William Regal, there's Taker, there's other people that have been surrounded by Triple H and he's influenced and who've influenced him in return. Ric Flair, but we might be there forever, so I'm not sure about that. But I think it would only make sense for it to be his work wife, and that's HBK.
Well, it'll be interesting. I think all of those answers have been mentioned throughout here. Let's see. Special Nobody says Stephanie or HBK. Boza thinks it would be Stephanie. The councilman is in the building. He goes with Ric Flair. Pat Chu also goes with HBK. Dave.
Batista?
Interesting. That'd be an interesting choice. I've got a Dave Batista question potentially that might come up a little bit later. Jeffrey says Stephanie. Dylan says Stephanie, HBK, or Vince. I'll give you 100% that it won't be Vince. Let's see. Jeffrey says Flair might be drunk. That's hilarious. Yeah, Jazz says Stephanie makes sense. It's interesting because I think obviously a case could be made for all of them. And I think it depends on just which route they want to go, right? Like the Stephanie route would be good from the perspective of she's someone you don't regularly see on our television screens. So when she shows up, we're going to pay a lot of attention to it. You could have a scenario, obviously, where Flair, who was one of his biggest influences, steps into the picture. You could have it where Shawn Michaels, who worked with him closely, and they went up and down the road together. I mean, there are a lot of possibilities here.
Randy too. I just thought about Randy.
Yeah, Randy Orton. Here's the good part for Triple H. There are a lot of people who love him and a lot of people who would love to be the one to have those words to say to induct him into the Hall of Fame. My one other question before we leave this topic is, so now we know who's going to headline the class. Who else do we think finds their way into the Hall of Fame class of 2025?
Wow.
Yeah. This is always a fun question because you start
it
thinking
is
like, who hasn't been inducted that needs to be inducted and all of the things. What do you think?
Oh, in the Triple H era. We're kicking it off with Triple H. I'm trying to think of a legend that hasn't been inducted. Shoot, this is really tough.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is really like hitting me right now. Holy cow.
Part of the other challenging part of this is just trying to remember potential legends that have not okay. Okay. So let's see. There are a few ideas that are floating around here. Let's look at some of these ideas that are floating around. Jeffrey says Victoria. That's a thought. Will says the Hardys. You know, this whole TNA situation, the Hardys could be a realistic thought. Says the Big Show. Interesting. Sean said Sid Vicious. That could be a thing. You know, he's recently passed. That could be a thing. Mickey James, that could be interesting. Cyndi Lauper, but you heard she won't do it. I don't know how true that is, but William Regal, it's a thought. Jim Johnston. Now, I think this is one that we don't have enough people talking about. Without Jim Johnston,
listen,
the bulk of the themes that we love for pro wrestling, we would have never had. And so I think that's one that would make a lot of sense. Jazz. Ooh. I think I like the Jazz one a whole lot.
I have a great one.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm surprised she's still not in the Hall of Fame yet. Now, like Miss Elizabeth.
That one is interesting from a few perspectives. On the one hand, I mean, I think Miss Elizabeth, without question, really paved the way for a different type of manager. The female manager who was beautiful but didn't get heavily involved in things. You know, that was a massive move. I guess my big question now is there too much controversy connected to Miss Elizabeth right now for them to pull that particular trigger?
Well, true, there might be. That story still might be a little rough for some.
That's my question as of now. Let me throw a name out there that nobody has mentioned yet. Lex Luger.
Huh. Oh, well.
Lex Luger. Now this is a fun one, Jasmine. Brother Love. Wow.
Bruce Pritchard.
Wow.
My goodness.
Wow, that's a great one. Is Michelle McCool in? I thought she is, but we can verify whether she is.
I think she's a WWE. She's a Legends contract, I think. Or maybe she's considered Legends. Maybe not yet. Demolition.
Now that would be an important one. That would be a very important one.
I wonder that they're not in.
Let's see.
Oh, I like that one, Will.
Michelle McCool, I don't think she is in the Hall of Fame.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Or
Will says Bam Bam Bigelow. That's a good one.
Bam Bam Bigelow is a good one. Let's see. Brian Pillman, that's a great idea.
These are really good ones. I'm surprised.
Chris Jericho. You know, Jericho is actually a really good suggestion. I don't know if
I wouldn't be mad at that.
I would love that. I guess the big question would be, would AEW let it happen? During WrestleMania weekend. You know how they have been.
The one-off.
Yeah. Dustin Rhodes, I think the same thing applies to Dustin Rhodes as it does to Chris Jericho. Will AEW allow it? I also think, and this one could be very interesting, AJ Styles. Styles. Someone is mentioning Bray Wyatt. I think the Bray Wyatt situation will be based on whether his family is ready for that.
Yeah.
They were not ready for that when the idea was initially brought up. So yeah, that'd be interesting. So I've got AJ. I think an interesting one. There are two interesting ones. There's John Cena, who, of course, we know he's on his farewell tour, but Rey Mysterio kind of proved the theory that, hey, you don't have to be done with your career to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Clearly not.
The other one that I have, which could happen this year, if it doesn't, it'll probably happen next year, and that's Hiroshi Tanahashi from New Japan. I think the respect for what New Japan has done will put him into the conversation.
For sure.
Let's see. Jeffrey mentioned Batista. It's interesting because Batista was supposed to be inducted a few years back. He had a conflict in terms of his acting schedule, and so they've never gotten back around to that. So that would be interesting. China. Now, you know what? China deserves an individual induction.
Yes,
She
she
was
does.
inducted as part of the DX induction, but I think it's only right that, you know, the same way Triple H got inducted, which was via DX, that if he's getting a solo one, I think China absolutely should get a solo induction.
Just like Sean. Just like Sean got 2.
Yeah. Well, you know
They'll
what?
all be 2-time Hall of Famers.
Here's the thing. That's the beauty of being part of an iconic group. And I think that'd be incredible. But again, congratulations there to Triple H. Ken Shamrock. I think Ken Shamrock belongs in the Hall of Fame. Former NWA World Champion, former Intercontinental Champion. I think he really paved the way for that MMA crossover that we're now seeing, of course, with Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, Marina Shafir, and several others. So it'll be interesting to watch for sure. But again, congratulations goes out to Triple H. So let's talk a little bit about NXT in Atlanta last night. This picture right here, I think, is another photo that belongs in the Hall of Fame, you know, and it belongs right next to the point from last year that involved Naomi, Bianca, and Jade. Last night, we had Bianca Belair and Naomi take on the Meta Girls for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships in Atlanta. So let's ask the question, because there's a lot of talk, particularly if you watch the match. It's a lot of talk because there was a moment where it seemed like there was a for sure 3 count involving Jakara Jackson, and I thought it was Naomi, unless it was Bianca. I thought it was Naomi, though. Ultimately, we've got a space where the team of Bianca and Naomi have retained the tag team titles. But let's get into it. What did you think of this match? Main eventing NXT Atlanta last night. All your thoughts there belong to you, honey.
Oh my goodness. This match was literally the cream of the crop, pun intended. I absolutely I just couldn't believe how good this match went. I was almost really upset that NXT is only 2 hours. I'm like, if it was 3 hours, you know, this match would have been it for a good half hour or so. But the ladies did great as usual. I was very curious about that pin towards the end, because I could have sworn it was a 3 as well, and I got a little confused at first. But man, these Meta girls, these girls have grown on me so much since the metaphor has been like somewhat disbanded. I mean, I wouldn't say disbanded, but just separated. These girls have my eye, and Lash, future legend, and legend is in her name, and future legend is in her game. Jakara Jackson was thoroughly impressive. And you know, to go up against the EST and the likes of EST and Naomi, big 2 out of 3. Like, you have to go big or go home, and you know, to be the best, you got to beat the best. Unfortunately, the Meta Girls came up short. I was very hopeful that they would win, but I guess there's going to be more to this story as the big 2 out of 3, the big other 2 out of 3 hold on to these tag titles.
Yeah, it was very interesting last night. Very interesting. All of the signs pointed to, and maybe it was just because of how I framed it in my mind, but I definitely thought we were getting a win for the Meta Girls last night, considering Naomi and Bianca actually lost Monday night on Raw to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I thought, well, for sure, this is the right time for the Meta Girls in Atlanta, et cetera, et cetera. There's so much to say about this. I mean, this being the main event, the women's tag titles being in the main event.
Yes.
4 amazing queens in Atlanta at the historic Center Stage Theater. Like, it just, all of the elements were right. And so when it comes to metaphor, I don't know that any of us thought that Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson would end up being the stars of metaphor. I think many of us may have thought it might have been Noam Dar, and they were just kind of playing the supporting cast, but they have stepped their game up so significantly. And to see the new wrinkles that Lash Legend pulled out last night, I mean, the backflip into the moonsault, like what are we doing?
Good Lord. It was beautiful. It was
incredible.
It was amazing. Like I had never, like I wanted to see more. It was like my favorite song or favorite movie that I was watching, and I didn't want it to end, and I was ready to rewind it.
Yeah, it was great. It was phenomenal. And to me, again, I don't think that the Meta Girls have anything to be ashamed about. I think if anything, the fact that there are so many people who feel as though they should have won the tag titles says to me that they are wildly popular, far more popular than they were even 6 months ago when they were, over in Saudi. They are really in the space. So now the question is, so I guess twofold. I'll start with this question. What's next for the Meta Girls? Do they end up getting another shot at the tag titles? What's next for them?
I mean, I think we should be getting ready to move them on up. Portal them through to SmackDown. Keep going for that opportunity to chase the tag team titles. And maybe we're going to see some more layers unfold with the Bianca Belair story and Naomi story of who attacked Jade, all kind of within the same realm, almost a parallel storytelling kind of route, because Meta Girls are going to go for that again, and it has to be against a 2 out of 3. It has to be against one. It has to be this. I want to see this at a PLE stat. That's it. Period.
I think this is great. There are a lot of things happening in the comments, and I'll get to some of these. Let's see. Junk Punch Hero. I like that name. Don't think Bianca and Naomi are losing till Jade comes back and beats someone down. Special nobodies. I bet the whole arena smelled like cocoa butter and black excellence. Man, listen, what I'm gonna need you to do is make a trip to Charlotte for Ashe, because I promise you that's a fact for sure. Eric says Lash and Jakara should be on the main roster right now. Jeffrey says it felt right for them to win in Atlanta for sure. Let's see. I'm wondering if Judgment Day will benefit from us knowing who attacked Jade. Add some context to that. I'd love to see where you're going with that. Special Nobody says Jacob Fatu and Meta Girls had an amazing breakout moment over the last few days, and they did. Boza says if they aren't going to beat Spitfire, they need to leave. I assume you're talking about leaving NXT. And so Will says TNA Tag Team Champions. I thought I said on Monday that I think they are going to be the ones to become the TNA Tag Champions and to be kind of the first in that crossover to win someone else's championship. So we'll see how all of that goes. But however you look at it, it's going to be a great situation, I think. Yeah, I definitely would love for that to happen, man, for sure. So we'll see what happens. But either way, a phenomenal moment for women's wrestling, a phenomenal moment for both of these teams. And think about how significant, how over Lash and Jakara are for them to boo Bianca Belair. Just think about that.
And since we're here, can I just go left a little bit?
Okay.
We've been debating and we're still wondering and we're still trying to strategize over the mystery of who attacked Jade. And we're like, is it Bianca? Is it Naomi? Was it the Meta Girls? Was it Liv? Was it Rhea? Was it Nia? What if it was both of those women? What if it was both Naomi and Bianca?
Okay.
I mean, has anybody even suggested that could have been a possibility as well? I mean, because the only reason why I say that is because I'm thinking about this, how we saw Jade, and Jade wouldn't let anyone who's threatening enough get close to her enough to touch her or even talk to her if she knew they were threatening. Who's to say that Naomi and Bianca, especially with what you just mentioned, with them being booed, who's to say we're not seeing a little shift in character here?
Interesting. I think now it's interesting because again, Bianca, when they revealed this, it was during Bianca's qualifying match for the US title. So that if Bianca would have done it, then that means she would have probably done it prior to, if that's the case, and then they had just discovered this. I don't know. I do think we're getting obviously much closer to figuring out who this is, and the fact that we've had no tea leaves and no hints
Not
actually
one.
could be a great thing, because I think when the surprise happens, it'll be wild. It'll be wild. So we'll see what goes down with this. But again, a phenomenal match last night. And again, we saw great things from all four women. Very, very proud. And of course, at the end, it was Bianca and Naomi retaining the championship. We learned a few things last night on NXT as we're gearing up for Vengeance Day. We learned that the North American Championship would be on the line. Fallon Henley successfully defended against Shotzi last night. And we now know that she will be taking on Stephanie Vekor for the North American Championship in DC on February 15th. We also know that there's going to be a triple threat match for the NXT Men's Championship as Obafemi defends against A-Town Down. And then we also heard about a triple threat match for the Women's Championship involving Julia, Bailey, and Roxanne Perez. Here's my question in regards to the Men's Championship match. Well, no. Let me back up. Do any of these triple threat matches get changed before Vengeance Day?
Absolutely.
Okay, which one?
I think both of them do.
Okay.
And I think you get an addition. I think you're getting an addition of, obviously, Cora Jade wasn't very happy with not being included in conversation with Ava and Roxanne in regards to the Women's Championship. And of course, we know Cora Jade would like to get her hands on some gold since she's back. At least I'm sure she would. Yeah, but and Trick Williams obviously is also one who's out for vengeance and wants his title back. Still going after Obafemi. Obviously, it didn't bode so well for him last night, but either fatal four ways or something or another is going to happen with both of these matches. Shenanigans, as usual.
As usual. What do you think about this edge that Trick Williams all of a sudden has?
I think it's definitely something he's needed. I definitely think it's something that he's needed for his character. It's got you invested back into possibly wanting him to see him become champion again, or at least going for the chase for it. As says here many times, there's money in that chase. And Trick Williams, honestly, his stock rises when he's chasing the title.
Agreed. And I think that last night was over the last 2 weeks, we've really seen a strong edge from Trick, from him slapping the daylights out of Wes Lee to him going crazy and throwing refs last night. Like, it was wild. It was wild. So we'll see how all of that plays out. But again, we're 2 weeks away from Vengeance Day, and that'll be live on Peacock. Now, there's some real concern right now surrounding Asuka. Of course, Asuka has been out on injury, and as she has been recovering, today on Twitter, on X, she shared these tweets, which have had a lot of people concerned. She says, quote, "I've been feeling in danger recently. I've already consulted the police. At this rate, even if fans approach me at the airport or in the city, I will feel the possibility that something might happen, and it will scare me, making me unable to respond. I absolutely reject any romantic or personal approaches toward me. There's absolutely no possibility for others to interfere in my private life." What do you say about this, honey?
Well, I would definitely say that she's not kidding around, and this is something that you don't kid around with.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure who or what she's talking about, but it's unfortunate that that this is something that we have as women have go through in certain instances, in certain cases, especially if you're like a public figure. I don't know, man. There's just also a bunch of weird, strange people out there, and I just think that people like that just need to be stopped. And it's just not. It just doesn't. It's not a good feeling. It's not morally right, and people need to respect boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody has a certain boundary and you don't respect that, then you need not be in that said space. There's no room
Agreed.
for things like that.
What concerns me about this is, she went so far as to put that tweet about, "I absolutely reject any romantic or personal approaches towards me." That is now in her bio, which is wild. Here we are once again in a space where fans are being what that actual name implies. And that, of course, is short for fanatic. And I get very concerned when people leave reality and go into some degree of alternate reality. It is dangerous. It is problematic. And that is why, as fans, we don't necessarily get to have nice things, because I don't understand a world where you have to put an entertainer's life in danger because of the things you are choosing to say to them. And so this does not bode well. I hope, for Asuka's sake, two things happen. One, that she is safe. And two, whoever is responsible for making her feel this way is dealt with the highest penalties that the law allows.
Absolutely.
Because there's no place for this at all. And I'll just go back and remind anyone, if you are saying things that are threatening or the like, there's not a space for you in the wrestling community or anywhere else for that matter. So do the right thing. Be a human being, operate with kindness, operate with dignity, and don't say anything with your fingers that you wouldn't say in somebody's face.
Exactly.
Be kind, because there's no reason that Asuka, who is not even on TV right now, should have to feel like this.
I think that's the craziest part about it too.
That is nuts. It's nuts.
I don't know, man. It's just, and then also there's just weird people. It's also the internet as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like, from person to person in front of you, but on the internet as well. There's just some really sick things out there.
So I'm hoping that Asuka will be well and that she'll feel comfortable, because again, in this business where you have to travel so much, part of the joy for certainly artists and athletes and entertainers is to see fans who enjoy them and come up and take pictures politely. They don't mind that.
Yes.
But to feel threatened while in an airport, if someone is to approach you, that's a scary space to be in. So we're thinking about you, Asuka, and we hope that you are well and safe. All right. Moving from that to another very scary situation that happened Monday night on Raw. JD McDonagh does a moonsault to the outside of the ring, and the back of his head hits the brand new reinforced commentary table. When it happened, if you were watching Raw, you heard the immediate concern of Michael Cole, who went so far as to tell people, hey, listen, guys, this is not a joke. Please, somebody get out here and help this man. It is a literal miracle that JD McDonagh continued the match. It is reported that when he went backstage, he collapsed, and he did go ahead and tweet to the world that, in his words, he appreciates the concern. He's good. But then he continued with the real update, which says he has a couple of broken ribs and a punctured lung. So he's going to be out of action for a few months. He followed that with all things considered. It could have been a lot worse. So I'm grateful for that. JD McDonagh, yeah, he's a trooper because, and this again, this is kind of the wild part. You know, you can tell, and we knew this when Raw went to Netflix, that they had the brand new announcers tables. Those tables don't break. They're made of much stiffer material, and the way the back of his head hit that was brutal. It was absolutely brutal.
I can't unsee it. Like, I couldn't unsee it either. They were replaying it as well, and I was just like, oh my God. I screamed at my TV. I was like, yo, he could be out. Somebody get him. But the fact that he got up, and then the crowd reception, when this guy comes back, they're going to start cheering him and booing Dom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the Irish Ace is definitely, has always been a tremendous athlete, has always been very, very well versed in wrestling. But to go through something like that and still continue, and you have a punctured lung and broken ribs,
that's incredible. That's incredible to me.
Like for people, like, you know, I got into, just a little side note here. I got into a conversation at work about, you know, asking about what I do, what kind of podcast I run, because people have been hearing around that I've been on a podcast. So I told them about here and everything, and they go, wait, what wrestling do you cover? The sports or that fake stuff? And I was like, we don't use the F word. So, and I doubt that in your sport, as soon as you puncture your lung or break your neck or whatever, they're gonna stop. JD McDonagh didn't stop. He was still, the fact that he was still able to go is absolutely absurd. No human could possibly get away with doing something like that. But man, I wish this man a very, very smooth recovery, because that one hurt me when I saw it.
Yeah, it was tough to watch, and it never got better, no matter how many times they showed it. It was very, very rough to watch. So again, this is I'm
going to show those people at where I work that clip and be like, well, what do you think about this? Does that look fake to you?
and the great part is TMZ covered it. Like, it's everywhere. People Magazine has covered it. It's everywhere. And so I want to remind people, again, piggybacking off of what we saw with Asuka and these wrestlers put their lives on the line every night for our entertainment.
Yes.
You know, you're talking about what, you know, other injuries in other sports. In the NBA, we've seen people, you know, if their elbow hurts, they get taken out of the game. If their foot hurts, they get taken out of the game. They don't continue playing. This could have been catastrophic. Absolutely catastrophic. And so again, these wrestlers are putting their lives on the line. Injuries can happen at any given moment. And so that's why this sport is not called that F word. Are some results predetermined? And I say some, yes, because most of us don't know which ones are and which ones aren't. And we don't know unless somebody tells us. But all the more reason why we should respect these athletes for all that they do, because most of us would lose it just running the ropes, let alone trying to do the flips and all of the things that are done
Yep.
It's serious. It is very, very serious. So our thoughts and prayers for a speedy recovery are with JD McDonagh. Now, Monday Night Raw, one of the other pieces of news that we found out is who would be the cover artist for WWE 2K25. Now, originally, that night we were supposed to see Roman Reigns as announced back at Raw on Netflix, but obviously plans change. But we did get the presence of Roman Reigns one way or the other, courtesy of the Wise Man. And the Wise Man let us all in on who the cover artist would be for WWE 2K25. And it is indeed Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief. He is on the cover of the standard edition of WWE 2K25. There are also two other editions, a special edition known as the Bloodline edition, and I think that cover goes so hard. Features all of the members of the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and his bloodline, which of course involve the Usos and Sami Zayn and the Wise Man, and then of course the new bloodline involving Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa. It's going to be incredible. And then there is the special Dead Man edition. The Dead Man edition celebrates 35 years of The Undertaker.
Oh my
God.
God.
So yeah, it's going to be wild. So you can actually pre-order all three editions now. The Bloodline edition will be available with 7 days early access. That's going to be on March the 7th. The same is true for the Dead Man edition, which will have 7 days early access. And all versions will be fully available on March the 14th. So you can be on the lookout for that. This is going to be something amazing.
That when I saw the cover for the Bloodline edition, I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And then the Bloodline tree.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like, and how they're all in the neck within the Ulafala necklace. Like, it's just so good. Shout outs to whoever did the cover, man. Whoever drew that out and put that together, shout outs to them. And the Dead Man cover, for God's sakes. Like, my God.
It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to fully read this comment, but the councilman apparently enjoyed the Bloodline cover, so that's great.
Thoroughly.
Jeffrey says Taker got me into wrestling and respect to the Dead Man for sure. Hard to believe that this year is 35 years of the Undertaker, which is just wild. But yes, remember, March the 7th is when you can get access to the special editions. March the 14th is when all editions will be available everywhere, but you can pre-order them right now wherever it is you get your video games and video game access. I'm excited for this. 2K25 is going to be something special. I've heard that there's somewhere close to 300 playable characters in this game.
Yes.
So it's a wild one. And of course, if you haven't seen it yet, the trailer is phenomenal. The trailer has that space of the island of relevancy, and just watch the trailer. Trust me, it's very, very special. So shout out to WWE 2K25. Now, we found out some news about an upcoming PLE. We remember Backlash in Paris last year. It was phenomenal. So WWE is heading back to Paris. This time it will be at the Clash in Paris PLE, which will be a Rare Sunday PLE, Sunday, August the 31st. And then it will be followed by an episode of Raw on Monday, September 1st. So again, 2 nights in Paris. That should be fantastic. And remember, with things being live on Netflix, you'll be able to actually watch Raw as it happens. That'll be earlier in the day for those in the United States. That should be a lot of fun. Any expectations for what we could see at the Clash in Paris, honey?
I don't know about what exactly we'll see by that time, because this will be after this. This is going to be like pretty much after SummerSlam and everything.
Correct.
But I'm just going to say this. I know that we will hear a very loud crowd
Mm.
because they're so loud out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love
Mm-hmm.
it. But Clash in Paris.
Yeah, it should be fantastic, and I love the name. So
Yes.
we had Clash at the Castle before, which I believe was in Scotland.
Yep.
Yeah. So clearly, Clash is becoming a European pay-per-view, or excuse me, PLE, that could find itself anywhere in Europe, and this time in Paris. And I am here for sure. The crowd is going to shake the roof, and those PLEs are worth watching for the crowd alone.
Yes.
It's going to
Indeed.
be special. It's going to be very,
Mm-hmm.
very special. So mark that down, August 31st. Now then, let's get to this interesting story. The Octopus, Jonathan Gresham, former Ring of Honor World Champion, former Ring of Honor Pure Champion. His TNA contract has officially expired, and Jonathan Gresham is a free agent. Now, for those who are unaware of why this could be uniquely significant, it's because Mr. Gresham is married and his wife is Jordan Grace. And Jordan Grace just signed a multi-year contract that was announced on Monday. So, do you think Jonathan Gresham could make his way to WWE, or does he return to the Indies? Or has he mended fences perhaps with AEW? What do you think?
I would think that Gresham is probably going to go to WWE if TNA doesn't offer him another kind of deal, being that DNA still technically has a partnership with WWE, so that way he'd be able to fluctuate with both, with technically NXT specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly would like to see him over in WWE and see what he could bring to the main roster, say a SmackDown roster, even or even NXT as well, if you want to just bring him into the fold full time, without the whole merger.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if he doesn't re-sign with TNA, or if he doesn't mend fences with AEW, doesn't go back to the Indies, I think he'd do just fine over with wifey's at.
Okay. Interesting. I'd love to see what you guys think, where you think Jonathan Gresham may end up. It's hard to say. And why I say, well, actually, let me take that back. I think New Japan would be a really good look for him. I think his style is one that he would not have to change at all and would fit very well inside of a New Japan ring. I'm not saying he wouldn't fit in WWE. I think it just depends on where and how he is presented. And then I also wonder for him, there was a time where he was running his own promotion called Terminus here in Atlanta. And so I wonder if he would want to return to that, or what he would do. Who knows? So I think this would be really interesting to see. This is an interesting comment from Junk Punch Hero. He'd be a fantastic producer for WWE, assuming he's open to the role. Producer, coach, I think he'd be phenomenal.
I think any role you give him, he fits like a glove.
Yeah,
because he's an all around amazing pro wrestler, and he's got a lot of years under his belt.
He does. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. But yeah, very, very interesting to see the future for Jonathan Gresham, but he is no longer signed to TNA. This story is interesting, and I thought about you when I saw it. So the internet was buzzing today about the possibility of Jake Paul versus Logan Paul, as apparently both made announcements yesterday that created the speculation that they would have a fight on March the 27th, and it would stream on Max. However, in comma, we found out that it's not exactly the boxing match you think it's going to be. Instead, it's a reality series. 'Tis a reality series. Jake Paul, Logan Paul. Are you interested in this at all, honey? Oh,
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't even want to. Even if it was a boxing match, I don't want to see it. Like, you mean to tell me you guys are banking on more than enough money than you can chew, and you're gonna bank some more off of us just to do something that you guys do in your living room? You know, y'all sibling fight on a daily, I'm sure. We don't need to see a boxing match, and honestly, a reality show. Nah. I knew my reality era was more in like 2010s. My reality TV era, and I'm good. Pass.
All right, there it is, a hard pass. Not that we're surprised. Yeah, we're not surprised with that at all. I part of the reason I didn't think it was a possibility is as locked in as Logan Paul seems to be with WWE, to risk a boxing match 3 weeks before WrestleMania doesn't stand to make a lot of sense to me, even if it's your brother. I don't think they would go easy on each other, which would make for an interesting fight, but we may never know because it looks like a reality series at this point.
I will tell you this reality series, what it won't be.
Okay.
And this is what it won't be.
Cinema.
It won't be that. Don't waste your time.
Well, there it is. And yeah. So moving on from that, we've got Dynamite happening tonight. And of course, tonight we will see the TBS championship on the line. TBS champion Mercedes Moné defends against Yuka Sakazaki. Sakazaki won a fatal 4-way on Collision, defeating some pretty significant people, including Queen Aminata, Serena Deeb, and Deonna Purrazzo to get this shot at Mercedes Moné. In addition to that, we'll hear from MJF, and we heard from him last week. We'll see Jeff Jarrett, who will battle Claudio Castagnoli. If Jeff Jarrett wins, he will get a shot at the AEW World Championship. Now, Jeff Jarrett has signed, in his words, his final talent contract last year with AEW. So he wants to be the world champion. He could get that shot if he defeats Claudio tonight. We'll see Will Ospreay taking on Brian Cage, which I think will be a very interesting match. And then we'll also see Wheeler Yuta taking on Jay White. So a very full card tonight. And then last but not least, Ricochet will take on AR Fox. Of course, last week, AR Fox battled Ricochet's future opponent, Swerve Strickland. So this should be most interesting. Any of those matches catching your fancy for Ricochet tonight, honey? Or, excuse me, for AEW tonight?
I mean, like I always say, anything with Will Ospreay, I kind of got my eyes on. He always ends up having like match of the night, you know. But I think Yuta and also Jay White is going to be a sleeper match too.
Yeah,
that's going to be a hard hitting good one.
Yeah, so it should be very good. Again, you guys can check out Dynamite tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, and there will be a watch along. I believe the Elite One will be here for the watch along. So before we go, one of the interesting things that popped off, I think, on Monday Night Raw this week, at the end of Raw, there was this very interesting exchange between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, where CM Punk basically says, you know, he's predicting to Cody what's going to happen in the next year or so, that someone would, you know, look to take the championship from him, and that someone is CM Punk. CM Punk created an interesting case for himself to potentially win the Royal Rumble. We talked about Jey Uso potentially winning the Royal Rumble, and we had a great scenario for him. There are lots of names entered into this Royal Rumble. Do you see the possibility of CM Punk leaving Indianapolis as the winner of the Royal Rumble? And if so, how?
I think that we don't. I don't know if it's fitting for the story of CM Punk, judging by what I've seen, for him to win this Rumble. I feel like he needs to be so close again and get eliminated again just before he could say it's over. But only because, and the only reason why I say that is because CM Punk still has a favor that he's going to be owed. So he's not going to need a ticket punched for the main event of WrestleMania if he already has it. Why else would he still need a favor on standby?
So that means you think his favor is what?
I think his favor has to do with Paul Heyman somehow or some way getting him into WrestleMania. I think that favor is not going to come in handy until later. I'm not sure if it'll play a part so soon. They're going to linger that on for a while. I feel like, because they're going to make you forget about that.
Well, funny you mentioned that, because we were all urged to watch the Royal Rumble kickoff show this weekend, where there is an interview involving CM Punk where he alludes to the favor. So this will be very, very interesting. I would say this: if I have that kind of favor in my back pocket, and I think Paul Heyman can do that, why even enter the Royal Rumble?
That too.
Why enter the Royal Rumble if I already? It's this equivalent, right? If I have access to tickets to an event, I don't need to buy them if I have access already. So that's going to be something to watch for CM Punk. Let's read this so it's immortalized. Will says, can't believe I'm about to say this. Sami Zayn should win the Royal Rumble. Picks Cody, and then Punk calls the favor, and we get a triple threat. I'm actually not mad at that, because we're talking about cases of people who could win the Royal Rumble. CM Punk could win it. A case was made, I think, for Sami Zayn to potentially win the Royal Rumble.
The fact that Will was typed out Sami Zayn and not Mick Foley Jr. speaks volumes.
It does speak volumes. And, you think about how Sami Zayn could win the Rumble. There are lots of possibilities for him. And Kevin Owens made a great point. We've seen Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn team up in the main event of WrestleMania. Them having never fought a match one-on-one at a WrestleMania feels like a crime.
I feel like we need it this year.
We need Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn this year.
We need our fight forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
That deserves to be a WrestleMania match. Should that match be for the WWE Championship? Time will tell. There are so many cases I think that can be made for people to win the Royal Rumble on both the men's and women's side. We'll still see, but I was swayed multiple ways in terms of who could walk out of there as a winner. And again, it could be someone else that we're not currently thinking about.
Right. Like somebody who hasn't even shown up yet. Like, I'm thinking about Triple H and I'm thinking about Shawn Michaels, and I know they love to do this. Like, I can imagine them being two mad scientists in their office writing out this Rumble and all these squiggly lines with every wrestler and all their paths leading to the middle, right? To the end winner. They're creating scenarios with every single superstar they have on their rosters in order to throw us off, because we know by the end of this Rumble, there literally can only be one left. Correct. Only one winner.
Now, I will say this. I wouldn't be surprised to see the return of Omos.
Nope.
as he has officially left Pro Wrestling Noah, and he left as a champion.
Yes.
So
Saturday.
I think an Omos showing up in this Royal Rumble could be a real problem for some people.
A lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of
all
people.
29 others.
So there's so many possibilities. That's what's making this Royal Rumble something very, very special. So looking forward to seeing the Royal Rumble, which takes place this Saturday. 6 p.m. Eastern is the start time for the Royal Rumble. Welcome aboard, Awesome Saucy. Great to see you here. Kevin Owens wrestled Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 37 Night 2.
I don't think that's accurate.
I don't think that's accurate either, but we'll find out.
Wasn't that it was Hollywood when they won the tag titles, right? It was
yes.
WrestleMania Hollywood.
Yes.
Night 1. Wait a minute.
So no, it actually did happen.
Oh wow, okay.
It did happen. I clearly forgot that.
Well, maybe it was just a one. What was it?
30.
Just a
Well,
one-on-one?
if it was 37, I can imagine why we forgot that one. That was the first one back with fans.
Oh,
And that one we remembered primarily for Bianca and Sasha, if my memory serves me correctly.
yes.
So
That was in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, very interesting. But thank you for that, Joe. We appreciate that. We always like to be accurate around these parts.
Yeah.
All right. All right. How can you find? Oh yeah, it was raining that day, Jeffrey. I remember that's the first time a WrestleMania has been delayed live. That was
That's right.
quite a moment.
It feels like that was forever ago.
It does feel like that was forever ago. Yeah, now I need to go back and watch that match because I don't remember it at all. So
I mean, eventually those two paths were going to clash one way or another because it's both on the opposite ends of the spectrum as far as how they feel about the bloodline and things like that. Like it's going to be a pretty wild fight. So we might get it.
We might. We'll see. So how can the people find you, honey?
You guys can find me here Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays with the WWT Live crew, as well as with the Kayfabe podcast every Saturday. We are doing a Rumble watch along this Saturday. So I know I will be there. I made sure I was off and doing absolutely nothing for that day because I want to spend time with you guys. And every Friday we have our Honey Night SmackDown watch along here with Women's Wrestling Talk as well. So tune in on Friday. Should be some really cool stuff happening Friday. I don't know exactly what's happening yet, but yeah, you guys can find me there and all things Wrestling with Honey on all social media platforms.
Okay. You guys, of course, can find me at Bonnerfied across all of the social spaces. And today I shared a little bit from the award ceremony that happened over the weekend. So you guys can go and check that out. I'm still very blown away by people's kindness. So yeah, it's kind of wild. It's really, really wild. So go check that out. Also, tomorrow night, Ashe Wrestling TV episode 3.5, the mixtape. You want to check it out on YouTube, on the Ashe Wrestling YouTube channel. We're gearing up for some great things with All Caribbean Wrestling. The premiere of Saturday Night Vibe, March the 1st. 4 weeks from this Saturday on Tempo Networks and on the All Caribbean app, which the All Caribbean app is now available on Apple, on Android, on Roku. It's in all of those spaces, so you can go check it out. You can check out the entire catalog of All Caribbean Wrestling, including if you're interested in ever hearing the commentary debut of TK, you can check that out. Along with a lot of great footage there from All Caribbean Wrestling. And speaking of TK, of course, this is her platform, Women's Wrestling Talk. www.talkpod.com is the website. You can check that out. Follow on the socials at WW Talk Pod. Again, at the top of the hour, We will have our watch along for AEW Dynamite emanating from Huntsville, Alabama. That will feature, of course, the Elite One, Courtney. She'll be a part of that. We got all kinds of things happening here on Women's Wrestling Talk. So make sure you are checking that out. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Cousin Ron, man, I appreciate you so much. You already know. Dylan, good to see you. Jeffrey, which, you know, that's a really good idea. I've been binge watching the Royal Rumble. You're on 1997. That takes some commitment.
Yeah.
I want to do my good fair share of binge watching because that's a lot of Rumbles.
Yeah, there's a few Rumbles that I want to rewatch. I usually do that around the season too. So
yeah, tis the season.
Look some up.
Tis the season. So we'll be sure to check that out. But everybody, even John Cena is with us. How cool of you, John Cena. Yes, Joe, Special Little Nobodies, Junk Punch Hero. I just love that name. Jasmine, welcome back. Always good to have you with us. Boza, of course, and all the people, everybody. If I missed your name, charge it to my head, not my heart. We've had a great show here today, and I look forward to seeing you guys again here on Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.